It's a big moment, guys. Goal 90 just turned 5 years old. From the first video drop to now, it's all thanks to you, our YouTube family. And to celebrate, we've got something special lined up. Buy any 2 jerseys and you get 10% off. Go for 3 or more and you're scoring a massive 20% off. Plus, free shipping worldwide. This offer is exclusively for our YouTube fam to say thank you. So, if you've been waiting to rep your club, now's the time. Head on to goal90.shop, link is in the description. Pep Guardiola is one of the greatest managers that the football world has ever seen. His dominant style, incredible win rate, trophies and awards across different clubs in different countries speak for themselves. But recently, he has been losing the respect of the general public as well as professionals due to a few pretty crazy reasons. What are those reasons? Well, that's what we're here to find out today. This is the real reason why nobody respects Pep Guardiola anymore. First of all, it feels like the man is going through an identity crisis. He used to be a coach who was obsessed with possession, domination, brilliant passing, superior technique, creating multiple chances and absolutely annihilating his opponents whoever they are. But in the last year or two, all that has been changing. Erling Haaland, as good as he is actually not the typical Pep player. The Norwegian's presence up front has made Pep's attack less fluid, but the machine man scores a lot of goals, so Pep was ready to sacrifice that part of his game. Pep used to love, and even depend on, flying attacking fullbacks, from the days of Dani Alves all the way down to João Cancelo, but in recent years we saw him jettison that for a back 4 made up entirely of centre-backs. Then to crown it all, we saw him completely do without a ball-playing goalkeeper for the first time in his managerial career. At Barcelona he had Valdés, at Bayern he had Neuer, and at City he had Ederson. But this summer he sold Ederson and brought in Donnarumma and Trafford, both of whom are great shot stoppers but not so good with the ball at their feet. Now, we're seeing City build out from the back less, and they're now having less possession of the ball per game. This is not the Pep we're used to. Against Arsenal, it was all exposed. City enjoyed only 32.8% of the ball, and this is against Arsenal, who have often been trolled by the football community for always playing a low or mid-block against Manchester City. But in that game, we saw the lowest possession average by a Pep team in a league game in his entire managerial history. And if you watched that match, you would see that it didn't just happen, that was exactly what Pep wanted to do. After having scored early, he wanted to defend the goal instead of typically going for more, so he asked that all his players be behind the ball. In the 68th minute, he took Foden out and brought in Nathan Ake. Less than 10 minutes later, he took out Haaland and brought in Nico. Essentially, he took off 2 attacking players and brought in 2 defensive players with a lot of minutes still on the clock. He ended that game with 5 defenders, 2 defensive midfielders, and just 1 attacker on the pitch, so Pep obviously wanted to defend. Like that wasn't bad enough, we saw City start to employ the dark arts, trying to run down the clock by wasting time just to protect a 1-0 lead. Heck, we even saw Donnarumma get a yellow card for time wasting. Everything about how Manchester City was set up against Arsenal was so not Pep Guardiola. The man is changing before our eyes. He used to be this untouchable, godlike figure with a genius, incomprehensible mind, but these days he's beginning to look so ordinary, and that has completely taken out the fear factor. Teams hardly go into games against City feeling like they're an inevitable and untouchable team. They always look so beatable and vulnerable. Even smaller teams feel like, if they're good enough, they can beat City. The respect is gone, but that's not the only reason nobody respects Pep again. We'll dive into the other reasons in a second, but if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Okay, so let's face it, last season did a lot of damage to Pep's reputation. City just kept losing, and it felt like Guardiola was clueless most of the time. He went trophyless, lost big games by big margins, and just looked like he'd run out of ideas for most of the season. But hey, to be fair, this happens to the best of coaches. If you stay at a club long enough, no matter how good you are bound to experience a terrible low, which would require a massive rebuild. The likes of Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson had to rebuild at different times in their careers at Arsenal and United, so Pep going through that wasn't really an issue. The issue was that when Pep Guardiola experienced a downtime for the first time in his career, he didn't seem to handle it well. What did he do? He just threw money at the problem, spending 218 million euros in the January transfer window alone, and the fact that it had sort of been his MO since the beginning of his career didn't do much for his reputation in the eyes of the public. He's known for building his team by signing some of the best players in the world no matter how much they cost. Fans started to call him a checkbook manager because of how much money he spends every other window. These factors combined made him lose respect from much of the footballing community. It sort of felt like he was just a coach who needed the best conditions and a lot of resources to achieve success. And when just one piece is missing, everything comes crumbling. Of course, he's still a true great, but it seems like he has lost that fear factor. And right now, if his players don't produce incredible moments of brilliance, the team would be in big trouble. I mean, these days, you can't bet on City to win every game like you could some years back. Games against teams like Brighton, Spurs, Crystal Palace, Forest, Bournemouth are now more complicated for Pep. You can never just be so certain that City would win these games. They also hardly kill off games and destroy teams. Sometimes they score early and try to defend the lead instead of killing off the game by scoring more goals, but the opponents end up equalising or sometimes even winning the game. We've already seen this against Arsenal and Brighton this season, and last season we saw it against United, Brighton, PSG, Feyenoord and a few more teams. Absolutely nobody respects Pep Guardiola and Manchester City anymore. Also, his record in finals has suffered a huge blow in recent years. Let's even say the 2021 Champions League final against Chelsea was down to the fact that it was City's first European final, and it's just hard for teams to win those on their first attempt. But losing the FA Cup final this year to Crystal Palace to give them their first ever major trophy, losing the FA Cup final to Erik ten Hag's Man United in 2024, and that same team taking Pep all the way to penalties in the 2024 Community Shield? Nah. That's just not the Pep we used to know. I mean, that was a much worse United team than the one Pep beat in 2 Champions League finals in 3 years back during his Barcelona days. It just further establishes the fact that Pep has totally lost his fear factor. Opponents no longer respect him, and it shows in the way they approach games against him. Finally, Pep's talent ID and development have been pretty suspicious recently. He gets massive credit for how he helped Messi's career grow and how he brought the likes of Busquets and Foden up from the academy. But recently, it seems like he no longer knows how to identify or develop a potential star. This guy really let Cole Palmer go, and in just one season, he turned into one of the absolute best players in the world. If Pep had given Palmer a proper chance at City, he almost certainly would have elevated the team so much. In fact, he could have been the perfect heir to De Bruyne's throne. And it's not just Palmer, you know, he also let Pedro Porro, Morgan Rogers, Romeo Lavia, Liam Delap, Jadon Sancho, Jeremy Frimpong, Brahim Diaz, Douglas Luiz, and a few more youngsters go. Obviously, he could not have realistically played all of those guys, but you look at that list and you can see a few names that, if Pep had identified and developed, City would have been a much better team right now with them in the squad. Just imagine City right now with Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, Jeremy Frimpong and Pedro Porro. They'd certainly be much better than they currently are. Also, Delap as a Haaland backup would have saved the club the 75 million euros that was spent on Marmoush. And you know the biggest one that highlights this bad talent development? James Trafford. Pep literally let go of James Trafford for £15 million in 2023, only to go back to buy him back for almost twice that amount just 2 years later. Now, he's already on the bench for a more expensive goalkeeper. It seems like Pep is now only attracted to the big names and big money players, and he has lost the ability to identify a player who could be a superstar and then actually put in the effort to turn them into one. This has made a lot of fans, pundits, and even fellow professionals lose respect for Pep. But we now want to hear from you. Why do you think nobody respects Pep anymore? Or do you think he actually hasn't lost the respect of the football world? Get in the comments and talk to us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.